Hey, Shalom Makim. First foremost, I'll give all praise and glory to Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yahushai, Ba'Shem Racha Kodash, the bonds, the elders, apostles, great millstone, the elders, a great millstone, and of course, peace and blessings to the hopeful elect that are out there. You know, it's the sincere ones within the truth. So, yeah, just, get this article, man. We know we're in, these evil times, these end times right now. We're at the brink where, all hell's about to break loose soon, man. We see these talks about, these pestilences, talks of war, and we're literally seeing it right now. We're about, basically, I just did a lesson, man, saying, hey, we're technically already in World War III. It just hasn't even kicked off yet. So we're obviously in the end times, man, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, which his name is Yahweh Shai, according to the Paleo-Hebrew, the ancient Paleo-Hebrew, which the Lord spoke. And of course, he was born a Hebrew. We're in the times that Yahweh Shai actually spoke about. And let's get it real quick. It is Matthew 24:3. And as he sat upon the mountain of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world? Yeah, so the disciples were curious, wondering when the end of the world will be. What will be happening, what will be taking place. And Yahweh Shai is going to give them the answer. Verse 4, and Yahweh Shai answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you. Verse 5, For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Hamashiach, and shall deceive many. Yeah, so take heed that no man deceive you. And, within the scriptures, you have false prophets. And the scriptures speak about false prophets, man. So obviously, in these modern day times, you got false prophets, ones who are telling you, try to, divert, you from prophecy, from actual real prophecy. They're telling you lies and, things that are false. People are saying World War III won't happen. Some people believe that the Lord won't come back. You got others saying the trust in, the carnal, trust in the flesh, the carnal things, trust the things of this world instead of trusting on the Lord himself. It says, verse 6, And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. Yeah, we're seeing these rumors of wars and, these wars. Literally what? The Russia and Ukraine, that war started. All we're waiting for is for what? America? For the war, the American-Russian war. That's about to take place soon. That's all we're waiting for. China, Iran, Turkey, they're all good. Hey, eventually, and that's prophecy in the scriptures that they're all gonna make an alliance and come up against America. Verse 7, For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. Yeah, so for nation shall rise against nation, we're seeing that happening right now. We're seeing these nations who were allies. We're seeing these particular nations start to break apart, coming up against each other. It says, and kingdom against kingdom, and there should be famines. Yup. And pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. We're seeing the earthquakes happening. We're seeing these pestilences. Even if these are so-called, man-made, Because, a lot of stuff, Esau got his harp system, this nine, this C, nine that, broke loose in around the beginning of 2020. A lot of stuff's coming out how that's, already, basically, man-made. And a lot of, the news got a lot of false news on it. But still, that doesn't matter because the Lord controls everything, man. The Lord controls this devil. The scriptures say how, the Syrian, which in that scripture represents Esau, is the rod of the Lord's anger. The modern day Syrian is Esau. So the Lord has power what goes on in the earth. And he can use literally the enemy to bring about, his will. So let's get into the article. It says net zero policies will leave half the world's population with nothing to eat, researchers warn. Yeah, net zero is going to get into it. It says half of the world's population may starve soon thanks to the net zero policies promoted by propagated by climate alarmists across the globe. The United Nations website defined net zero as cutting greenhouse gas emissions to as close to zero as possible, with the remaining emissions reabsorbed from the atmosphere by oceans and forests. It says, according to a paper published by CO2 Coalition, the net zero initiatives of governments and private organizations are scientifically invalid and will lead to worldwide impoverishment and starvation implemented. Yeah, and, any way Esau can go about trying to get, accomplish his agenda, he's going to do it. He's going to attack you by many sides. The scriptures say, how Esau has a smooth tongue. He speaks sweet things. And that's exactly what deceiver would do. So what? This devil, which Esau is a so-called white man, if you don't already know, according to the scriptures. So what is he going to try to do? He's going to try to make everything, he wants to accomplish. He's going to try to make it as if, it's good. He's going to put a cover over it. Oh, yeah, we're doing this for this reason. This thing that we're trying to do, we're doing it for this reason, blah, blah, blah. But behind the scenes, he's doing it for a completely different reason. So what? It says, according to a paper published by, I just read that. It says the paper's authors were Professor William Happer from Princeton University, Professor Richard Linzen from Massachusetts Institute of Technology, and Gregory Wrightstone. They specialize in climate research and strongly refute the climate emergency cult narrative while warning of the devastating consequences of increasingly radical climate policies. It says humans need green plants to exist and prosper. Plants get the carbon they need from carbon dioxide in the air, other essential nutrients, water, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, etc. come from the soil. Plants grow better with several times higher CO2 concentrations than present values. As far as green plants are concerned, CO2 is part of their daily bread. Like water, sunlight, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, and other elements. Without CO2, there would be no photosynthesis, no food, no water, or no human or other life. Yeah, and that makes sense. CO2, Esau's trying to make it look like, CO2 is such a bad thing. We got to clear it out. Well, really, it's needed within this environment, you know? And if this devil's so concerned about, bringing down the CO2, he will change, the society. First of all, starting off with the Industrial Revolution. We seen, these factories, all these vehicles, the smoke going up in the air, all this pollution, the smog, that, these, starting from Industrial Revolution, these modern day technologies, again, such as, these, in the industrial field, you got, factories and all of these things that create, a lot of pollution. If this devil was so concerned about CO2, he will restructure the whole society. He will put this place back, or, he will put this place back into his traditional way of living. For Esau, man, that's obviously far-fetched. Because what? Esau likes everything quick. These factories and these vehicles enable you to do that. These planes. Us brothers, man, within the truth, true men in the Lord. And we know, the Israelites can only be men in the Lord, which Israelites, so-called Negroes, Native Americans, Latinos. And of course, you got Israelites who are scattered amongst the other nations, who got the parents of a heathen, but their seed line goes back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. They still have, the spirit of an Israelite, because, again, this seed line goes back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That's determined, through the spirit. We don't have, records and, our genealogies. It's luck. So, what was the point I was making? Yeah, so, the scriptures say, seek ye the old paths. The scriptures say in Psalm, I believe, it says, seek ye after the old paths, basically paraphrasing. Meaning, seek ye after the old way, the old way, how we used to live, concerning the law, statutes, commandments of the Lord. Us brothers, us servants of the Lord are coming back onto that, But we're coming back onto the laws, statutes, commandments in a way, the divine way of living, according to the scriptures, man. Of course, we can't do every single thing, within, the bounds of this society, of Esau society, because, again, this place is structured against our prosperity, as a nation. This place is systematically designed to kill us, to bring us down as a nation. When I say us as a nation, I'm talking about the nation of Israel. The Israelites. So yeah, at the end of the day, if Esau was really, trying so hard to reduce the CO2, he would completely change the way his society operates. But what? Esau's too far into, his new way of living. It's obviously too far-fetched for this devil to consider that. But that's okay. Because once Yahushua comes back, he's going to destroy this Edomite and this Edomite power, the Edomite rulership. And he's going to take down all the other nations. And he's going to set up Israel in the place of rulership, man. And after that, the place will go back into its righteous state, which is the ancient way of living. But it's going to be a little bit different because, we bring out spiritual power, and we're going to have better the kingdom's going to look glorious, man. It won't be comparable to any type of, time before it. We see these high-tech chariots that are in the sky. Esau deems them as, UAPs. or UFOs. You know, we see these vehicles within the sky, man. And what even even Esau himself says that this technology is 1,000 years past. Well, that's the number they put on it. Really, it's infinite. You know, Esau can never get to that level. But what he says, it's 1,000 years, you know, more advanced than what we have, or you know what these devils have. These you know these so-called UAPs that be in the sky, those are the chariots of the Lord Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. Read Zechariah 5. Read Ezekiel 1. You know, and what the scriptures say in Psalm, the chariots of the Lord are 20,000. So come on, man. Obviously, hey, our way of living as Israelites will completely surpass the way this devil, you know, rule things. What the scriptures say, when a wicked man ruleth, the people mourn, but when the righteous are in rulership, the people rejoice. Basically paraphrasing. So what it says, going into the article, I'm gonna bring out scripture soon. It's like it says the paper's authors stressed that net zero regulations and actions are scientifically invalid. This is because their proponents fabricate data or omit data that contradict their conclusions. And it says rely on computer models that do not work. Rely on I guess endings of the intergovernmental panel on climate change that are government opinions and not science. Omit the extraordinary social benefits of CO2 and fossil fuels. Omit the disastrous consequences of reducing fossil fuels and CO2 emissions to net zero. And then it says, and reject the science that demonstrates there is no risk of catastrophic global warming caused by fossil fuels and CO2. Then what? It goes on to say net zero is an attack on food supply. So we know, Esau is just setting up these things so he can bring his NWO. Because if he sets up a famine, you know, we know this devil's creating a man-made famine, man. That's why he's burning all these food plants, you know, these food factories that, you know, produce food and provisions. The reason why he's, you know, burning that stuff, man, is to what? So he can cause a famine. And then once he causes a famine, we know he's ultimately moving for this MOTB, which is the RFID implant. You know, the scriptures say in Revelation 13 how he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in the right hand or in their forehead. Basically, paraphrasing, in Revelation 13. And what? It also says how that no man might buy or sell save he that had a mark, or the number's name, and then, you know, so, hey, if you don't have the RFID implant, that MOTB within, you know, your skin, then you won't be able to buy or sell within this man's society. So what if he causes man-made famine? You know, the chaos happens. Esau comes. Okay, you know, if because at the end of the day, Esau wants to have, you know, the control, ultimate control, you know, over the rationing of food. You know, Esau wants to be in control of all of that, man. So that's why you're seeing a lot of these, you know, small businesses shutting down, and you're only seeing, you know, places like Walmart and, you know, these big corporations thriving, because we know Esau, again, wants to use these big companies to push, you know, he wants to use these big companies for his NWO, because what he already has, you know, great control, you know, over these companies. So let me see. I want to bring out scripture now. I actually wanted to bring out, I think it's in second. Yeah, these are good right here. So yeah, at the end of the day, man, the Lord's controlling this devil, man, because what? The Lord wants to bring a famine. If we get Psalm 33. Wait, hold up. But nah, it's not. It's not this one. Yes, I mean Psalm 105 and 14. Or we can start at 13. And then it says, okay, Psalm 105 and 13. When they went from one nation to another, it says from one kingdom to another people, he suffered no man to do them wrong, yet he reproved kings for their sakes. Yeah, when you go into this, it's speaking about the prophets of the Lord, Yahweh B'Shem Yahshua, the servants of the Lord. Because, well, I just go on to say in verse 15, it goes on to say in verse 15, saying, touch not mine anointed and do my prophets no harm. So what says verse 16, moreover, he called for a famine upon the land, and he brake the whole staff of bread. So what? The Lord has showing you right there, there's many accounts in the scriptures where the Lord himself said that he will send a famine upon the land. So we know the famine comes from the Lord himself. It doesn't matter if he uses Esau to do it, or, he uses the enemy to do it, or whatever way. The Lord ultimately brings forth famines. The Lord ultimately controls everything, man. All the evils that go on the earth, the Lord is behind all of that. It's at 2 Ezra 16 and 19. Behold, famine and plague. Yeah, so this C, 9. Teen. I gotta say like that. Because, YouTube. A famine and all these plagues you've been witnessing. It says tribulation, anguish. Yeah, any type of tribulation and anguish, man. What? It says are sent as scourges for amendment. So the Lord's behind all of that, man. Because the Lord ultimately sends these evils to judge the wicked. And, of course, to try his servants. The Lord said how basically the elect of the nation of Israel, the ones who are set up to receive salvation, because only Israel, the elect of the nation of Israel will receive salvation. The remnant within the nation of Israel, because you got a 2/3 that the Lord will cast off to destroy. The 2/3 of the nation of Israel will be cut off, and the Lord will cut them off and destroy them because of their disobedience. They're set up and predestined to be disobedient, so the Lord going to destroy them. And you got the 1/3 of the nation of Israel, which is the remnant. That's the elect of the nation of Israel, man, and the Lord will save them. We know the scriptures say how the Lord will try them as fire, as gold is tried in the fire. So, again, the Lord sets up these evils to destroy the wicked and to try, his elect. Because the Lord won't let the elect be destroyed by these things. Because ultimately they will receive salvation. It says what? Fire, Ecclesiastes 39:29. Fire and hell and famine and death, all these were created for vengeance. more to the point on that. And then look, 2nd Ezra 15:49. I will send plagues upon thee, widowhood, poverty, famine. Yeah, widowhood, because what's going to happen in the scriptures? Oh, look, 2nd Ezra 16:34 says, In the wars shall their bridegrooms be destroyed, and their husbands shall perish of famine. So yeah, we know basically 100% there's going to be a draft for World War III. America's going to make a draft for World War III. A lot of men will get sent into this war. And that's exactly how, these men's wives will lose them by war or by any any other type of conflict, because we know there's going to be conflict within America. What do you think is going to happen when famine and all these evils start to go down? Chaos is going to break loose. People are going to be robbing one another, stealing from one another, killing one another for food, for resources. And so none of this is far-fetched at the end of the day. It says, going back to 2nd Ezra 15:49, I will send upon thee widowhood, poverty, famine, sword, and pestilence, to waste thy houses with destruction and death. So the Lord himself said that, man. He's going to do that. People think that the Most High is only good, man. Nah, the Most High, the scriptures say, Isaiah 45:7, how the Lord controls light and he controls darkness as well. The Lord uses Satan, because people think that Satan is, is not in league, is not in alliance with the Lord. Nah, the Lord controls Satan, man. Read Job, the first few chapters of Job. It speaks of how literally Satan, man, went up onto the Most High to ask him if he could put affliction on Job. And the Lord said, yeah, go ahead, but don't, just make sure he doesn't die. So what? That shows you right there that Satan comes onto the Lord, and he's under the order of the Most High, man. So again, the Lord uses Satan and demons to bring forth these evils. So at the end of the day, the Lord controls all of it, man. Isaiah 10:5, O Assyrian, the rod of mine anger and the staff in their hand is mine indignation. Yeah, that Syrian, again, that modern day Syrian is Esau, so-called white man. They are the rod of the Lord's anger, man. The Lord uses them. Esau is one of the Lord's tools he uses to bring forth judgment. Lord blesses man with, a powerful. The scriptures say how Esau will be blessed with the sword that represents his weaponry, his military. So you don't think the Lord's going to use Esau? Come on, man. The Lord controls everything. The Lord can use, go about anything how he pleases. So the Lord can use Esau to bring forth many of his judgments. And he will, as is prophesied. It says what? Proverbs 21:1, the king's heart is in the hand of the Lord Yahweh, as the rivers of water. He turneth it whithersoever he will. So whatever is in this devil's mind, man, the Lord puts that in his mind. We know Esau is set up to be a complete demon opposite from the Lord. The Lord literally put it in this devil's mind, man, to be literally the opposite of him, to be just like Satan, man. The spiritual demon Satan. The Lord put that in this devil's mind. And the Lord has the power to control what Esau does. If the Lord doesn't want Esau to do something, he can easily put it in his thoughts. Okay, Esau be like, we'll go ahead and pass on that. Or if Esau's like, we maybe shouldn't do that. And the Lord's like, the Lord puts in his mind to still do it. Hey, Esau's going to do it. So it doesn't matter, man. And that goes for anybody, every single soul, man. Everything in existence, the Lord has power over. He has power over your thoughts, what you think. There's no such thing as free will, man. The scriptures are completely are completely contrary to free will. Ain't no such thing, man, as free will. Going back to the article. It says the High Wire host Del Bigtree also had strong words against the proponents of net zero. He called them globalists disguised as climate change advocates and accused them of deliberately attacking the global food supply and farmers through net zero. It's the farmers, those people that are out there digging the dirt and bringing us food, they are targeting. Bigtree said during an episode of his program. The globalists are literally paying people to shut down their farms to stop growing anything. Yeah, and I believe I did a lesson on that. I think it was around maybe last year or something. They're literally paying the farmers, paying farmers to sell out or whatever, and to sell their farm and to stop making production. So what does that tell you right there? There's obviously planned. Esau wants a famine to come. It says a growing coalition of countries and cities, businesses, and other institutions are pledging. Yeah, so what? Countries, because we know at the end of the day, these other nations are drinking the wine, the cup of Babylon the Great, which Babylon the Great is American. That cup, that wine represents, the ways of America, the philosophies, the way that America believes that you're supposed to live, the way that they have their system set up. These other nations, copy it, because they use America to get rich. So they're doing the same thing in order to attain this great wealth like America has. So what? At the end of the day, man, even though this famine will come, guess what? The Lord will keep his prophets fed. Elijah was kept fed, during the time of his famine. And then what? When you go into it, yeah, Joseph was kept fed. So yeah, at the end of the day, let's go to Joel 5:20. Joel 5:20. In famine he shall redeem thee from death, and in war from the power of the sword. And we know that ultimate sword is those nuclear missiles, man, that these nations contain. So the Lord's going to deliver his elect. Once Yahushua comes back, he's going to deliver his elect from that nuclear destruction. Because that's exactly when Yahushua will come back, is a nuclear destruction. Verse 21, thou shalt be hid from the scourge of the tongue. Neither shalt thou be afraid of destruction when it cometh. Yeah, so the Lord's going to put a spirit in his servants to be able to endure, and to be faithful in him, once these things come to pass. Verse 22, at destruction and famine thou shalt laugh, neither shalt thou be afraid of the beasts of the earth. So if we're going to literally have a spirit of laughing, because we know how serious famine and destruction is. So if the Lord's literally going to put a spirit of laughing in us in that time, obviously things are going to be going good for us. Lord willing, be part of the elect. Obviously, if we're going to have the spirit of laughing, things are going to be going good. It says, neither shalt thou be afraid of the beasts of the earth. Yeah, because the beasts of the earth, even, when we're out here, the scriptures say, he has pilgrims on the earth, and we're going to have to get like that. Be like pilgrims. Once all hell breaks loose, You won't be able to pay for, these bills anymore. You might have to, hey, we're going to lose a lot of stuff, houses. So, you might have to be out there, like, you be seeing these movies, how they kind of be, wandering. Hey, it's going to get like that. But what? The Lord said it, because the Lord uses the beasts of the earth to put forth judgment. Bears, cougars, mountain lions, dogs, wolves. Hey, the Lord uses those, even what? The Lord even has control over the animals. He uses those, man. He uses them also to bring forth his judgment. But what? The Lord said we'll be protected, and we're going to be in league. As it says, verse 23, for thou shalt be in league with the stones of the field, and the beasts of the field shall be at peace with thee. So yeah, that proves it. Psalm 33 and 19, or we can start 18. Behold, the eye of the Lord Yahweh is upon them that fear him, and upon them that hope in his mercy, to deliver their soul from death and to keep them alive in famine. And give me a second, brothers, I'll be back. Yes, luck, brothers, I'm back. It says what? To deliver their soul from death and to keep them alive in famine. So, and the Lord can do, as I was saying, man, the Lord can go about any type of ways, man, to deliver us from, many troubles we might be caught up in, famine. Hey, the scriptures speak about many accounts of what the Lord literally sent the angels, man, to deliver the prophets. Other things, like Elijah, a raven brought food unto Elijah. The Lord using a literal raven, a bird, to bring food unto Elijah, man. What? The Lord kept Elijah sustained. What? Yahushua himself was able to create, the disciples only had, a piece of bread, or, only a little tiny piece, or a little amount of bread. And what? Yahushua was able to make that, multiply it, and make it to feed a whole multitude, man. Other accounts of, the Lord raining down manna in Exodus. So literal manna, bread, food coming down from the sky, man. The Lord's able to send the quails. So it's a far-fetched that the Lord will be able to keep his elect sustained in these times, because times are going to get rough, man, Without the Lord protecting us, hey, we obviously be overcome, man. But what? The Lord is going to keep his promise. Hey, the Lord, like the scriptures say, the Most High is not like a man that he shall lie. Basic paraphrasing. The Lord is not like a liar. He says one thing, but he's not going to do it. Not everything the Lord says, man, he's going to do it. If he didn't keep his elect fed, hey, the Lord will be a liar. But the Lord isn't a liar, man. He will keep his elect fed, just like he said. Verse 21, or verse 20, for our soul waited for the Lord Yahweh. He is our help and our shield. For our heart shall rejoice in him, because we are trusted in his holy name. Yeah, we ultimately wait for the Lord Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. Once Esau mandates the MOTB, the RFID, you know what? CHIP. Spell it out. Esau's going to make it where, again, you won't be able to buy or sell within the society. But what? At the end of the day, we're going to wait for the Lord to help us. Because Esau's going to come down with, like, great wrath. And we won't be able to do anything within the society unless we be a part of this man's system. Again, in order to be in the system, you're going to have the MOTB, which is written about in Revelation 13, man. So, at the end of the day, we're going to wait for the Lord to deliver us. We can go ahead and end it off. Isaiah 65. Isaiah 65 and 13. Therefore, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, behold, my servant shall eat, but ye shall be hungry. Behold, my servant shall drink, but ye shall be thirsty. Behold, my servant shall rejoice, but ye shall be ashamed. And who are those people that the Lord's speaking about who will be ashamed and thirsty? The ones who didn't want to follow after him. We know the heathen are through. Anyone who isn't of the nation of Israel, hey, the Lord is not going to help them regardless of what, of what they do. But what? The ones who are in the nation of Israel, again, I was speaking about the 2/3. And the scriptures speak about the 2/3 when you read Zechariah. Zechariah. It speaks to how there's a 2/3, 2 parts that therein that will be destroyed, basically paraphrasing. And then you got a 1 part, which is that 1/3 that will be saved. Ultimately, the 2/3, which are set up to be disobedient, they won't follow after the ways of the Lord. The Lord's going to leave them ashamed and thirsty and hungry to die off. But what? The Lord right here says that his servants shall drink and shall rejoice and shall eat. So how many times in the scriptures have, the Lord has said, and how many accounts and proof that we have that the Lord kept his prophets fed? To literally believe that the Lord will do the same thing in these times. The Lord already said that he's going to keep his elect safe, man. So at the end of the day, man, we know these things are coming. We know that this time of famine and, the times of chaos are very near. Pestilence, war. But at the end of the day, the Lord keep his elect sustained and ultimately deliver us, man, from this wicked place. So what? The nation of Israel sets up a new righteous rulership under, of course, the power of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. The Lord will set up the world so the nation of Israel will rule over it, man. In a complete righteousness, according to the law, statutes, commandments, and in its perfection. So I just want to bring that out real quick. Lord only but let's out there edified. Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahushai, Ba'Shem, Barakah, Quedash, Barakathum, Shalom.